Good morning, everyone. And in the last class, we have discussed about electronics and how solid state devices improved all these factors. Then we have discussed about the disadvantages and advantages of vacuum tubes, and we just started regarding what is its structure, and we just got to know that they use sand for making pure silicon crystals, into which they are going to add some impurities. So how does a pure silicon act at low temperatures, at 0 degree Kelvin, something like that? It completely acts like an insulator. So what is an insulator? It does not allow any current to flow through. That means current does not happen in it. Even if you apply some voltage, it does not have any charge carriers. It don't have any free electrons to respond to the voltage that is applied to this particular piece of silicon. So how to imagine a piece of silicon, and how will they manufacture it, and all those points should be clear to you whenever we discuss. I will try to give you some rough idea about how they get the pure silicon out of sand. So first they take the sand, try to melt it down, and then slowly remove all the impurities from the sand. Then they get a big cylindrical bar, which is made out of, which is extracted from that sand, which is completely purely silicon, which is absent, or which does not have any impurities in it, which does not have any impurities in this particular cylinder. Then this cylinder is thinly sliced, very very thinly sliced, and that will be of very big size, same like a plate or way bigger than that. We don't know, it depends upon the manufacturer. So those thin slices are then selected, programmed with the help of many different computers and machines. Then those are doped at different locations, which are like a very very minute. So let's say this is one IC, this small, which is completely black, and then they will try to insert impurities into this, and those impurities have different pattern, how to inject those impurities layer by layer. So that is the sophistication that goes into the IC making. We will discuss this, and I'll try to show you some other videos which are on YouTube, which are very interesting. But right now I want you to understand that silicon is nothing but a piece in which there are all similar atoms which are of silicon, and its structure is in such a way that one silicon atom has 4 valence electrons in its outermost shell. So those 4 valence electrons, those bond with the another atoms which are nearer to it, and then all those are stable. that means all those are stabilized, neutralized, their stomach is full, they are not looking for any electrons, they are not trying to give out any electrons, they are happy, satisfied and at rest. So that is the condition of the pure silicon. So they don't try to make any of the bond because they already formed covalent bond, shared 4 electrons, got 8 electrons on the whole. So this particular silicon got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 electrons. Now this is already stable. So like that, this will get from this will get from this will get from this, like that every silicon is stable. We may think that other silicon atoms which are at the edge, but let us not get into those details. That is not that important for us right now. So what happens if I simply take a pure silicon, a piece of pure silicon in which all silicon atoms are present, and try to apply some voltage. Let's say I am giving positive here and negative here. So what happens, how does the current flow in that particular silicon? And here we have discussed, if it is in cold conditions, if it is in very cool temperature, then all the atoms are inside those shells, satisfied, stable, happy and at rest when it is in cool atmosphere. But when it is slowly coming into the room temperature, or when the atmosphere around it is increased, then heat is also one form of energy. That energy in turn energizes these electrons. So whenever you give extra energy that is required, if you take more food, you should do more work, or else you will become obese, you will become fat. And so electron always, whenever it gets extra energy, whether it is in the form of heat or whether it is in the form of light, it takes that energy and it comes out of that bond to lose the extra energy which it has gained. So in that process, whenever this comes out of this bond, so whenever it tries to come out of that bond, it loses its energy which it has gained through the heat. Now this became free electron. That means it is not under the influence of any of the atom. So this free electron creates a hole here. It creates a hole because before there used to be an electron here, but now there is no electron. So this is the absence of that particular electron. So hole is the place where that electron belongs to. So that is how whenever an electron gains energy and comes out of that particular atom, it creates hole, which indicates, or which becomes a place where an electron is trying to go and fill into. So you can think of this hole as something like, if in our childhood we used to play a game in which there are holes in this order, and we used to take marbles and fill these holes, right? So will the marble stay here? No, the marble should go and enter that hole. That is the concept behind this hole. If there is a hole, only then the electron can go back. So as soon as the electron comes out of this orbit, it becomes free, and in the process of coming out of an orbit, it may lose its energy and it may go back, or it may go and hit some other electron, and this electron may come out of its orbit, and this electron may go and sit into this hole. So when this electron goes and sit into this hole, this becomes free, and this one will either be a free electron or it may go and hit some other electron, again creating a hole here. So how does the energy make these electrons is one electron goes and hits. So like that, there is not only one electron, there are few electrons which are getting energized by the heat which is present around it. So in a pure silicon, whenever you have temperature raised around it, it gains energy and it creates free electrons and holes. So let me indicate electrons using this color, and let me indicate holes using this color. So whenever an electron is coming out of its bond, automatically a hole is getting created. So equal number of electrons and equal number of holes. If 10 electrons are getting created, 10 holes also will get created, because in pure silicon there were no extra electrons, there were no holes, nothing. So all this creation is happening because of some heat or light around it, right? So that energy is causing these electrons to come out of those shells, which in turn is creating these holes. Okay, here if I have 10 electrons, I should also draw 10 holes. Fine. So let us not count all those, but you should be aware of this fact. That is the case with the pure silicon, and these are the charge carriers which contribute to the current. So whenever you have a pure silicon in room temperature, it starts conducting. When it was in cool temperatures, it was not conducting even if you apply some voltage to it. If you apply more voltage, it may again start to give its energy, then it may conduct. I don't have that clear idea regarding how it behaves, but whenever it is in room temperature or whenever some light is shown upon that, whenever light is radiated onto that particular piece, then atoms on it get energized and electrons get energized and come out of those shells, creating all these charge carriers which we are discussing. Now once this concept is clear that charge carriers are getting created inside this piece of pure silicon, we should understand how these electrons carry on the movement. So current happens. Here we know that this is a conductor. So in conductor we know that there are free electrons freely available. So this is something which is attracting all the electrons because it is positive terminal, and this is something which is repelling all the electrons because it is negative terminal. So here all the electrons are getting injected into it, if you can think of it like that, and here it is trying to suck all the electrons which are present. So once you have an electron nearby an electron starts to repel this electron. So this electron have tendency to move in this direction. So in the process of moving towards positive, this electron should go and fill the hole. This electron will go and fill this hole. So whenever there is an electron which is getting repelled by this negative terminal, the electron gets into the hole, this electron gets into this hole, this electron gets into this hole, like that all electrons move towards the hole. Thereby those electrons are again sucked by the positive terminals. Now what is happening? So did you get that all electrons are moving from this terminal to this terminal? That means from negative terminal to positive terminal. All the electrons are moving in this direction. Now if you take holes, if you think of hole as a absence of electron, that means it is having some positive influence on it, because this is a place where an electron gets attracted and sits into this hole. This electron gets attracted into this hole because it is positively charged, because before there used to be negative charge and now there is no negative charge, so it is positive. So this hole gets repelled by the positive terminal and hole tends to move towards this side. Or else simply you can think of it like this: whenever you have an electron entered into this hole, now it filled it, but here you get a hole created. So this electron again tries to move and fill this hole, again a hole gets created here. This electron may move into the conductor, so creates the hole, and again electron may enter and fill it. Okay, so electrons are coming from here and going here. So on the whole, electron is moving from right to left, that means from negative terminal to positive terminal. So in this process the hole is also moving from left to right, because hole is something which is getting attracted towards negative terminal, electron is something which is getting attracted towards the positive terminal. I think that this point is clear, and if it is not clear, please make sure to ask me and I will definitely repeat this again. Now the whole point that I want you to take is electron movement is opposite in direction to that of the hole moment. Okay, if electron is moving in this direction, hole will move in this direction, because electron definitely gets attracted towards hole, and once this electron leaves this place, the hole gets created here. That means hole is moving in opposite direction. So that's the point here which I wanted to make. Now this whole thing is happening inside a pure silicon, which is in some room temperature, and last time we have discussed that in room temperature we don't have enough clarity regarding how many electrons are getting created and how many holes are getting, means we don't have control over, let's say at 30 degrees centigrade some thousands of electrons are getting created. If the temperature increases slightly, the number varies. So we are not sure how many electrons are getting created, because atmosphere is in control. It is not we who are in control. So in order to get a good grip on the number of charge carriers that are getting created, they have went for a process known as adding impurities, which is nothing but doping. So we stopped our class there. So doping is nothing but addition of impurities into this pure silicon. Let us discuss what is doping and its types. So if you take a semiconductor, pure, impure. In pure semiconductor is also known as intrinsic. Impure is known as extrinsic. Pure semiconductor is getting affected by heat, light, and charge carriers are getting created. Whatever charge carriers are getting created, number of electrons will be equal to number of holes. Right? Here, after the process of doping, we can add two different types of impurities. One is trivalent impurity and the other is pentavalent impurity. Tri is nothing but 3, valent is nothing but valency. Impurity is something which is an extra element that is introduced into pure silicon or germanium, whatever it is. So if I take a pure silicon, there is nothing, only silicon. Only silicon atoms are present throughout this whole piece. But adding impurity is nothing but for every few silicon atoms we add one impurity atom. So they indicate it like ratio 10 to the power of 3 is to 1. That is some 10 to the power of 3 means 1000 is to 1. So for 1000 silicon atoms they are adding one impurity atom. Or so for 10 to the power of 8 is to 1 is for how many? So if you think of it like this, you can say that for every 10 crore silicon atoms, one impurity atom is added. So this tells us about doping concentration. So doping concentration tells us about doping concentration, and doping concentration tells us what is the ratio. For these many silicon atoms, only this impurity atom is added. So I want you to find out the types of, let's say that this is assignment, find out types of impurity atoms. Added. If it is boron, what for this boron is added, something like that. Try to find out what for. And if this is phosphorus, so I am just giving you one example. I want you to find out many examples which are given in the module 3 book, module 4 book. So try to find out how many types of impurities are added and why are they trying to add those impurities especially, because without application it doesn't make sense why they are adding this boron or why they are adding this phosphorus. And this penta is indicating 5 and valency. So silicon's valency is 4, boron's valency is 3, phosphorus valency is 5. So outermost shell has 4 valence electrons for silicon, so 4 covalent bonds on all sides. This has only 3 and this has 5. These make up p-type semiconductors. And these make up n-type semiconductors. Okay, p-type semiconductors has holes. We are clear that for every boron atom added, I am injecting one hole. That means one hole is extra, no matter how many atoms there are. So for 10 crore silicon atoms, one hole is extra in it. So you know that. So that too, they know at which temperature, because the lab is completely temperature controlled. Atmosphere is very well controlled in that particular lab. Now here electrons are dominant. For every phosphorus atom added, I know that one electron is free. Okay, I will explain you in detail. Okay, now let's say that I have only silicon atoms. You know how silicon atoms get bonded. So this one silicon atom will get bonded to its all nearby 4 atoms, thereby getting 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 octet configuration, stable. It is full with stomach and nothing else, no work to do, it is at rest. But now with the doping concentration in mind, if my doping concentration is 1000:1, for 1000 such silicon atoms, we are introducing one phosphorus, let's say. So phosphorus is something which is having 5 valence electrons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if these 5 valence electrons are getting bonded in this way, okay, and once this bonding is done, all the surrounding atoms are satisfied. Phosphorus is satisfied when this electron comes out of its influence and become a free electron. When this electron is coming out, it does not create any hole here. There is no hole creation here because there is no bond that is looking up here. So here, when this electron was coming out of this, there a hole is getting created because this electron was incomplete without this electron. So this electron needs this, or this whole atom needs this electron to get 8 configuration or octet configuration. But here they don't need this electron. They are fine without this electron, so it becomes a free electron. Okay, that is how introducing impurity creates a charge carrier and if you introduce phosphorus, which is pentavalent impurity, we get a free electron. So like that, if this particular piece is having some 10 to the power of 10 atoms in it, which is very very less. In physical it may be this much of size, so some billions of billions atoms should be present in this. So like that, if I add 1 for every 1000 silicon atoms, that means I have introduced many free electrons into it. So like that, this whole n-type is now highly concentrated with all the free electrons. So all these are free electrons which we have introduced into this particular piece. Now whenever this free electron is given some supply like positive and negative, in this condition, doesn't this conduct? It will very well conduct, and negative terminal repels all the electrons and positive terminal sucks all the electrons. Now you are sure that whatever is happening inside this n-type is going to happen pakka. You are 100% sure that electrons are getting repelled and holes are not present, or holes will get created if you bring this into some heat atmosphere or light is radiated upon it. But under controlled conditions, it will not have any holes in it. But whenever it is brought into some room temperatures, holes will get created because the electrons which are in these bonds will come out of the energy which is provided by that heat, and hole gets created here. Okay, so whenever such actions happen which are not because of our intervene or which is not our intention, these are called as minority carriers. So minority carriers are getting created because of heat. We are not intentionally creating these, whereas majority carriers are that which we intentionally add into it. So here in n-type, majority carriers are electrons, minority carriers are holes which are getting created because of the heat. I want you to make this point clear that in n-type we are adding many electrons into it intentionally by adding an impurity atom for every so and so. This may be also some 10 to the power of 8 if you want to keep the concentration low, and you can take it to 10 to the power of 10 also. It doesn't matter, but the concept is that in n-type semiconductor you are adding free electrons into a pure silicon. Anyway, even if you add or not, these minority charge carriers will get created as soon as you bring those into some room temperature or some hotter temperature conditions. That is why you get holes as minority charge carriers, and once this electron becomes free electron, it gets included into the majority charge carriers because you cannot differentiate an electron from another electron, and it continuously moves from one bond to another bond. It moves. All these electrons moves with the temperature which is present around it because they vibrate with energy. That is what is happening with n-type, and that is how the conduction also takes place in n-type semiconductor. That is all about n-type. Okay, now if we are trying to discuss what is happening in p-type, same like silicon, we have many bonds that are going on, but we are introducing one boron atom which is trivalent, which is having only 3 valence electrons. So it gets bonded up, but this is incomplete. Before there used to be a silicon and now there is no silicon, so this bond is looking for an electron. So absence of electron or vacancy or hole into which an electron can go and fill in is nothing but a hole. So this hole is getting created for every boron atom that I am adding into this particular piece of pure silicon. Thereby that is known as doping, and this makes a p-type semiconductor. So in p-type semiconductor, I am sure that there are holes for every boron atom I add. So here, whenever I give some voltage, all electrons will go and fill in all the holes, right? And these holes get attracted towards these electrons. So holes will move towards negative terminal and electrons will move towards the positive terminal. That is how conduction takes place in p-type semiconductor. In p-type semiconductor, holes are the majority charge carriers, and because of heat some of the electrons will come out creating holes here and there. So those holes also get included into majority charge carriers, but because of heat some electrons are getting created. Those will be called as minority charge carriers. So these electrons are called minority charge carriers. So you will find some free electrons here and there, and here also in this piece you will find some holes here and there because of the heat. So these holes are minority charge carriers in n-type. These electrons, blue ones, these blue ones are minority charge carriers in p-type, and all these pink holes are majority charge carriers in p-type, and all these blue electrons are majority charge carriers in n-type. Clear with p-type and n-type? So now I think we can conclude this class with one assignment. I want you to find out what are the types of impurities added, like gallium, indium, arsenic, different types of elements that are added as dopants. So try to find out how many different types, list them and inform me what happens if you add gallium, where that doping is used. Is it for making LED? Is it for making some kind of diode? What is that? Try to find out why those are introduced into the semiconductor. Okay? I think that much is enough for today. Hope you all have a great time.